podcast. All right, guys. So I'm really excited about what I'm going to talk about today. It's not going to be super long, but I've been wanting to do this for a while. So I'm excited to get into today's topic. But before, let's get into an intro. First off, I went to the dentist yesterday as you guys know, I do have the Invisalign. I don't wear it when I do the podcast because trust me, you don't want me to talk with my lisp. It's gotten better. My lisp has almost completely gone away, but yesterday they gave me new trays, so then I feel like my lisp comes back for a little bit, and I just don't want to be worrying about my mouth while I'm doing the podcast. So I don't wear it during the podcast, but they had to shave some teeth down a little bit more yesterday. And what I mean is like in between my teeth so that there can be movement. And it's literally like tiny, tiny shaving, like nothing crazy. But they had to do 5 yesterday. And then they ended up putting some like little glue stick pointy things on my teeth. And if you have Invisalign, I've seen them on some people who have Invisalign, and it like just attaches to the Invisalign so that it pulls a certain way. I have no idea how it works, but I have it on several teeth now. And then, I was like, I'm ready for new trays because I want my teeth to move and I want them to be tighter. And then yesterday I could not handle the fucking pain. I was like, I woke up like at 3 a.m. in like so much pain. I had to take them out. Well, I know you're not supposed to, but eventually I know, like today I've been wearing them. I've gotten a little bit more used to it and stuff, but Invisalign progress is going strong. I'm like only a month in fully. It's going to be like 5 months. So I'm ready to start seeing crazy changes because I really haven't seen any like crazy changes. But when I went yesterday, my dentist, Dr. Lee, said that the changes have been good. So everything's good. And actually, if you guys want to check out my post, I actually just did a post on a giveaway for veneers. So if you guys want to go to my personal Instagram and check that out, you can, because when you listen to this, the giveaway will still be open. So just in case you guys want to go, support me too with that. But yeah, guys, so that was yesterday. I leave to Hawaii tomorrow, and I am one of those people that stress packs. Like I hate packing. Like, I don't know what it is about packing that I feel like I need an entire day to pack. Like, I am not a last minute packer. I hate that. I hate if I'm like 10 p.m. trying to pack. Like, it stresses me out. And I'm one of those people that I need to sleep before going on a flight, or I'm just like, my anxiety's through the roof. So I did spin this morning, but I'm not going to go gym later this afternoon because I'm like, listen, I want to get all my work done for the day. I want to make sure laundry, everything is taken care of. I pack and I can just sit down later tonight and relax and spend some time with Chris, because I'm actually leaving for Hawaii first. I'm going to a work event with Ghost Supplements. As you guys know, I work with Ghost, and if you don't know, I work with Ghost, and Chris will be joining me on Saturday. So I'm going to be there a few days by myself and with some teammates, and I just want to make sure tonight I spend some time with him. So I'm just like, I don't know. I know other people, I'm sure they're like this, but I'm just like, I am a stress packer. I like just to have plenty of time to pack so that I don't forget anything, because I just am like, the less anxiety on me, the better. So that's going on. And then lastly, I'm going to be trying to record, because I'm gone for like an entire week. So I am going to try to record a podcast in Hawaii with Chris. So I'm excited for that. He's just going to have to make sure he packs everything according to technology wise to make sure that everything is good to go on that end. But yeah, I'm excited because hopefully we'll find like a nice spot that we can, have the podcast in. And then lastly, I just want to make a statement real quick and say that I know there's a lot of crazy shit happening in the world with the gun violence, and then everything with the abortion cases and everything that's going on. And I just want you girls to know, and guys, if you're listening, that I know it's right now, cancel culture is really in, and you guys are like, as influencers, you guys should speak up and blah, 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 blah. And I just want to say, like, it is really hard as an influencer to take a stand when you know it's a political stand, and you know that you are going to get a lot of positive, but a lot of hate. And when it comes to something that can easily be divided in two, it's even harder to talk about. When it's something where it's like, okay, for the most part, 80-90% of the population are for it or against or whatever, they're on your same team, it's a little bit easier to talk about. But when it's something that's so huge and it's so divided, it's really hard to talk about. So I'm not going to come, I don't feel comfortable just yet in coming on my podcast and taking a stand on what is going on. But I just want to say that I just wanted you guys to see where we are coming from. And I don't want to ever, my goal with the podcast is to be positive and motivating and help you in some way. It's not to take a political stand and get hate and cause drama and any unnecessary comments. So right now I just feel like for me, I'm not coming on here to take a stand on what I believe in. And I don't want to, I don't think it's anyone's business as to what I believe in just yet. But just know that, I understand that people are hurting right now, and it's such a scary world we're living in right now. And it's really scary to think about the future because we don't know what's going to happen. But I just wanted to state that. And I hope you guys know that it's not that I just purposely want to stay quiet. There's a lot of things that go behind it. And so a lot, not me, just me, like a lot of influencers companies, there's a reason why, it's really hard for them to take a stand publicly because of the backlash that can come from it and stuff. So, especially because at the end of the day, we rely on you guys for our income to make a paycheck, to make a living. And when you don't please your audience, that can be really hard. So anyways, I just wanted to make a little statement on that. And let's get into today's topic. So I think it was last week I got a younger girl, she DM'd me, and I can't think of her name, but she DM'd me. She's like, hey, I just graduated high school, and I just want you to know that I love listening to your podcast. It motivates me and just like inspires me as a woman and where I'm heading in the future. And that just made me so excited because, to be honest, I think right now we checked and the demographics for the podcast are like 25 to 35. And even though that's amazing because I am 27, I do want to influence the younger generation because there's a lot of things that, I didn't have podcasts growing up. I didn't know about any podcasts growing up. And I didn't really have amazing like role models aside from like, my parents to work hard and stuff like that. But I didn't have anybody that I really truly looked up to or could get guidance or advice from. And so just, hearing that some of you girls are really in love with the podcast and it's helping you guys, it means so, so, so much to me. So I'm just so grateful that this platform can help you girls out. And I highly recommend, ladies, like if you have a younger cousin, a sister, put them on podcasts, even if you're like, oh, you know what, they're not even like, I don't have anything going on with their life. They're not concerned about it. You never know. Like one day they may just click on the podcast, and it doesn't have to necessarily be mine. Whatever you resonate, share it with your younger cousin, sister, whatever it may be, because you don't know how that podcast can affect them. And maybe that one podcast can help them change their lives. So just want to say that too. So today's podcast is 5 things I would tell my younger self. And I feel like there's a lot more that I could probably tell my younger self, but these are the top 5 that I felt like I could kind of go into. And they're not in any specific order. They're kind of based on like what just kind of came out of my brain as I was typing. So number 1 thing that I put down is appreciate the time you have with your family. Especially now as an adult and as someone who does live really far from my family, I spent a lot of my years, the last 3-5 years, crying a lot about my past and about the time that I didn't spend with my family. And until recently that I've accepted that, I understand it was just part of life. You grow up and, you don't pay attention to all these other things, and you're so concerned with your own life and things like that, that you kind of shove your family to the side in a way. But now that I'm older, I'm like, man, I wish that I would have spent more time with my family. And what I mean by that is, you're 15, 16, you're in high school, you want a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and you're like, you have your own drama you're going with your high school friends, or what so-and-so happened to, and so-and-so went to this party and this happened, and oh my God, am I dating a football player? Like, you have so much, I understand, going on in your life when you're 15, 16, that your only concern is getting home, shutting yourself in your room, texting, going out with your friends. And if you have an hour of your day with your family, that's probably like most of people. Like that's it. An hour you probably spend an hour of your day with your family, and then everything else is just like you're in your own little world. And I understand that's like I said, it's part of growing up, being a teenager, but I wish I could have gone back and been like, you know what? This drama or whatever I'm concerned about right now can wait, and let me just go, and even if it's my parents are watching a dumb soap opera, let me just go and spend some time with them. Or let me just say, hey, you know what, let's make a family dinner, or let's bake together, or hey, like, let's go get a board game. And like, I just feel like I wish I would have done that more as my younger self. Now as an adult, when I go back and visit my family, I make sure that my time is very just with them, and I'm present with them. And regardless of what we're doing, they could be watching a dumb Western movie, but I'm there sitting on the couch with my dad, because at the end of the day, that's, even though it may seem dumb, I want to have that time with him. And so, yeah, I just want to say, like, appreciate your family and spend that time with them, because you grow up so fast and you realize, like, damn, I didn't spend enough time with my family. And then it's hard because life comes, in, and you have a job and you get married, and then you might have kids, and that time with your parents slowly decreases, and you just don't know how much time they're going to have left. And to be honest, like, you're not guaranteed a day, and they're not guaranteed a day. And it's just really sad. I've always looked at, like, I don't ever want to look back and be like, damn, I should have spent more time with my family. I feel like, yeah, there'll always be a part of me that thinks that, especially because I live in Houston and they live in Georgia. But every time I leave Georgia, feel full, because I know that I did my part in spending time with them, and really being, and what I mean, like, time and really being present in that moment with them. Don't be on your phone and like texting whoever, like, really just spend time with them. And if you're like, I don't really want to watch this movie with them, then do something else. Like I said, one thing, it could be like when you're younger, you're a little bit more selfish too, and you're like, well, I don't really want to do this, but more so do it for them. And two, like, if you really don't want to watch that movie, then, like, I'm sure if you say, hey, dad, let's go do something else that you like, that he likes to do. And whether it is like being outside with animals or whatever it is, just go and spend some quality time with them. Because like I said, as an adult now, that's one thing that I feel like I went through my teenage years, and all I was focused on was going out with Chris, going out with my friends, getting out of the house. And, I wasn't with school and sports and stuff. It was hard too. And I had a full-time job. And so it was hard. Thankfully, with my job, I worked with my parents, so I saw my parents a lot there. But if not, then I would have probably not seen my parents a lot, because I was so focused on leaving the house and getting out. And at the end of the day, guys, your family, for not 8 times out of 10, because I do know that some people don't have good relationships with their parents or their family, whatever, but a lot of people do. And, your family's always going to be there for you. Your parents are always going to love you and support you. And feel like you can rely on them, because you really can. And sometimes as we're growing up, we're like, well, my best friend is the only person that understands me. And I'm like, trust me, honey, that best friend you have in high school, it is rare that they're going to be in your life in your mid-20s. Very, very rare. And I know you're thinking like, no, it's my best friend, they'll always be there. I'm telling you, rare. So just make sure that you're there, you're investing your time and energy with your family versus these relationships that probably aren't going to last a lifetime. So appreciate your time with your family. Number 2, you don't have to do things for others to feel validated and to feel valued. And that is just something me personally I'm going through, and I've worked through in therapy. Growing up, I felt like I had to be doing things for other people all the time in order to feel valued or to feel good enough or to feel like I belonged with them. And, that's not the case. You can be loved without having to bend over backwards for people. And I did that for so long without realizing that that was something that I was doing until honestly, like this year with therapy. And if I wasn't doing things for others, I wasn't whole. I wasn't full. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not good enough. Like, oh my God, in order to feel loved and cared for and for these people to like me, I have to fix their issues and do this for them and find resolutions to all their things and help them grow and all this stuff. And even though like, yeah, it's great. It's a great trait to have in a way. It can also it also affected me greatly because I never felt like I was good enough if I wasn't doing something for people. It's like, well, I'm not good enough personality wise or just energy wise for you to be around me. I have to do something, or you have to be taking something from me in order for me to be good enough for you. And so I just want to say that that's false. And I know a lot of women deal with this, especially women, because we have to feel like, our jobs as a woman is to do things for others. And it's not the case all the time. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing things for other people, but you can't just give yourself value only when you're doing things for other people. And, it is something that I'm currently working on. And I'm like, you are good enough without having to stress all the time about other people. And, that's something that I wish I could go back and it would probably be very hard as a teenager to even realize that about myself and to be like, okay, well then if I'm not doing things for others, then, what am I good enough for? But that would have been just me taking some time in personal development and learning, okay, this is what I bring to the table personality wise. This is what my mind brings to the table. I know that I'm good enough for other people regardless of what I'm giving to them. So that's definitely number 2 that I would say is you don't have to do things for others to feel valued and validated. Number 3, so important. And something I think as adults, we still go through this. I still go through this, but I've gotten so much better, especially if you guys didn't listen to the podcast last week with Brittany, she's helped me a lot because of her. We talk about her therapy sessions and with my therapist and everything, but it's number 3 is take time before you react emotionally. And for us females, a lot of us, we always react emotionally versus logically, always. And so we're so quick to act out on our emotions, and honestly, 9 times out of 10, it'll always bite you in the ass, because then you'll be like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have reacted this, or I totally blew it out of proportion. It's so important to just take a step back and be like, damn, okay, I'm fucking pissed off right now. I'm in a mood. Let me just take some time, go away a little bit, walk away, take some time to reflect. And for some of you guys, it may be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. For some of us, it may be overnight. I'm one of those people. I can walk away, give me 20 minutes, and I'll feel better. But I always end up my mind always ends up feeling more at ease the next day. So something I've learned is, especially with social media for me too, is instead of reacting to a negative comment right away, if it's something stupid, I delete it. But instead of reacting to something right away, or if I feel some sort of way because of something someone said, I'll just take some time to sleep on it. I'll try not to let my mind fixate on the issue, and I'll try get some sleep. And then the next day, 9 times out of 10, I don't even want to respond to the person. I just kind of ignore it. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, they have an opinion. I have an opinion. I don't really want to deal with it. And so I've been really working on just doing better on not reacting emotionally to things that I might be upset about, especially when I was younger. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many times I would just be upset at stupid shit that had nothing to do with Chris, but I would be upset or felt some sort of way and would take it out on him. And honestly, it was so toxic because it had nothing to do with our relationship, but I would take it out on him because I was feeling some sort of way emotionally that had nothing to do with him. And so I can say that a lot of teenagers go through this. You're upset because something happened, and then you take it out on the person that's closest to you or your significant other because you're feeling hurt, you're feeling some insecure, some sort of way, instead of being like, okay, let me take a step back. I am feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? Take a moment to ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? And are my feelings valid? Most of the time, yeah, they're valid, but what can I do positively instead of acting out on these emotions and maybe regret what I'm going to end up doing? And it's so hard. This one is so hard because even as adults, a lot of adults don't have this fixed. They still react on emotion. And so it's so important to just be like, okay, let me take a step back. Why am I acting out this way? And I literally just had this happen to me on Saturday with Chris. I was so upset, had nothing to do with him. It was more on me because I was stressed. And I got into like a little argument with him, and I was like, you know what? It's not about you right now. It's about me. I'm upset right now. And I really don't want to be mad at you, and I don't want to take it out on you because it has nothing to do with you. So just let me have some space. Let me walk away. I'm sorry. And then within like an hour, I felt so much better. And then within like 2 days, I kept thinking about, okay, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? And I got to the deep rooted issue as to why I was feeling that way. And I talked to him about it. And I talked actually to Brittany about it yesterday. And I was like, I'm so glad that I'm in the place of my life where I can really take my emotions out and think, okay, why am I feeling this way? There's got to be a deep root cause that's causing me to feel this way. Okay, what can I do to fix it and improve it? But that takes a lot of self-growth to do, guys. So please don't think that you're always going to think that way, because every situation is different. That situation, I was able to take a step back. There are certain situations where I get heated and then I'm like, fuck, why did I get so heated? So it takes some time and some self-growth to do that. But if I could go back and tell my younger 15, 16-year-old self, especially when I'm tired, I'm really moody, hey, calm down. It's just an emotion. Take some time to think about it and then come back later. 9 times out of 10, you'll feel a lot better that you did that versus reacting emotionally. All right. Number 4, what others think of you as a reflection of what they feel about themselves. And I'm sure you guys have seen this a lot on social media, and a lot of them things, this quote especially is with like female to female, like, oh, if she doesn't like you, it's based on what she's feeling about herself. But that goes around with everything. And for a long time, I spent a long time thinking, why me, and putting blame on myself for not being accepted, when in reality it had to do more about that person than it did with me. And so, and I think a lot of that starts with self-love, you loving yourself first, and then being like, you know what, if this person doesn't like me, and I know that I'm a good person and that I haven't done anything wrong, because it's different when you've done something wrong, or you're an asshole or a bitch or whatever it is. But if you are really like, I've been a good person to this person, and I truly in my heart feel like I haven't done anything, you just have to accept that some people just may not like you, or you may make them feel things that they're not ready to confront. And I found that a lot especially with females. Sometimes I bring out insecurity in other women, and it has nothing to do with me and the fact that I'm mean or anything about my character. It has more to do with the way that they're feeling about themselves. And I've had this happen to me before. And I think I talked about it in my second episode or third episode of the podcast, when I was feeling a certain way over this girl on social media, and I unfollowed her. And it has nothing to do with her. I think she's a beautiful girl, and I don't know her personally, but every time I saw her pictures, it just made me feel so insecure about myself and whatever. I was going through a lot at that time, and I was just like, I can't do this. I can't constantly be looking at her stuff, because I am feeling more and more shitty about myself, and it's making me feel awful, and I don't want that. And so I unfollowed her. It had nothing to do with her at all. I don't think she's a bad person. I don't think anything. I just think I couldn't be around that. I couldn't see that. So I understand that sometimes a female might feel insecure with me, and she's like, you know what? I don't really want to be around her. I don't want to be her friend. And that's okay. And I've understood that. And same with work, some people may feel like you're in competition with them because they're trying to get ahead, and instead of like, they don't have the mindset of everyone can grow together. It's more of like, okay, they feel like they're in competition, and hey, if that's the way that they feel, then that's the way that they feel. They're entitled to feel that way, and that is fine. And you just got to let them do their own thing, but it has nothing to do with you and your character. And I've come to realize that, because for a long time, I was like, man, like I would cry and I'd be like, why do people not like me? Why does this happen all the time? And then it's like, you know what? Sometimes people just don't like you. And plain as simple as energy. Sometimes people just don't vibe with you, and that's okay. And same as how you feel about with someone else. Like, I'm currently going through that with someone. I just don't like them. I don't vibe with her. And I just don't want to fake a relationship, and I don't want to be around that. It has nothing to do with her. Like, I still have my opinions over that person, but like, I just don't want to be around her. I don't have the energies just not matching. And like, I don't know her in explanation and she doesn't know me in explanation. And we're adults, we can move on with our lives. But when you're younger, there's a lot of times where you're like, okay, what did I do wrong? I did something so wrong. And you fixate on the issue, on something that's not even there. You fixate on like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Why didn't this person like me? When in reality, they just probably just don't like you, and that's okay. So as to my younger self, if you're listening to this, if you're younger, just work on self-love instead. Be like, you know what? They may not like me, but I like me and I'm working on myself. And I think I'm a great person because I am kind and I do show respect to others and I do know what I bring to the table and I'm working on myself. And if there is room, if you did fuck up and there's room for you to apologize there somewhere, then be an adult and be mature and be like, okay, you know what? I probably did mess up. Let me go apologize. If you feel like there is room for you to apologize for something, also be an adult and apologize. But if you're just not liked, then you're just not liked and accept it. And you'll get more self-love out of you loving yourself than, I guess it doesn't make sense. You'll get more love out of you loving yourself than you will from other people. So yeah. And number 5, stop overthinking everything, especially why people around you react a certain way. And overthinking is so like, it's not easy to be like, stop overthinking. You can't just like stop overthinking things, right? Like it just doesn't work that way. But, you know, for a long time, like focused on like oh my God, why is this person acting this way around me? Like, oh my God, they changed their mind about how they felt about me. Like, oh my God, this and that. When in reality, it has nothing to do with me and more so what they have going on in their own life. But you are so focused on you. And it honestly has to do about your own perspective on what you think is going on in that other person's life. When in reality, you probably have no fucking clue what's going on in that person's life. So stop overthinking situations and just quote unquote be like, just be like, stop overthinking and start taking things more lightly. I guess you would say, like, just be, you know, if they think a certain way or they are acting a certain way, it's probably something going on with their lives versus what's going on with you. It has nothing to do with you. So just be. And honestly, people change and are entitled to change with you. You might find yourself that you have this relationship that is slowly dying out. And that's part of life. Like, people change. Like, some people they grow in different ways and they build new relationships, and maybe you just don't fit in their equation, and maybe their purpose of being in your life was served and now it doesn't serve you, and they're entitled to change their mind. And because for a long time, I used to be like, well, so-and-so said that they would never do this. Or so-and-so said they like this, but look, they like this. And then Chris was the one that was really like, Jasmine, people are allowed to change their mind. Just like you change your mind. People are allowed to change your mind. Just because, I don't know, this came to mind. Just because you don't like this car right now doesn't mean that next year you won't like the car. Like, you never know where you're going. Like, you never know the environment, how it's going to change. You don't know anything in your life. So the way that you think can change over time, and people are allowed to change their minds. And that's what just happened there. Just because they didn't like this last year doesn't mean they can't like it now. And so, like I said, everything is about perspective, but it has to do with more on what the other person is feeling and thinking and going through in their life versus you and what you're acting around them. So just stop overthinking everything and just be. So that was my last one. And before I close this, guys, I just wanted to say, like, the number one thing that I'm very grateful for in my life that has not changed, and even though I have changed, is I've always stayed true to myself. And that is the key to having a happy life, is staying true to who you are. I said it in the beginning of my Instagram journey, it was my biggest fear to start Instagram, because I was like, I don't ever want to be someone I'm not. I always want to be this humble little girl that loves her family and just cares about other people. And I don't ever want to have this fake persona about me. And So it was so important for me, especially, and I say this with social media because social media is a big part of your life, and that's where I see a lot of people change. It's like, I always want to be true to myself. Always, always, always. And that is something that I've always done. And I'm so grateful for it. And I show up for myself every single day. And if I'm not having a good day, I'm not on social media faking that I'm having a good day. I'll go on there and say that I'm having a bad day. And sometimes I don't go on there at all because I'm entitled to not go on there at all. And I don't want to be a quote unquote negative Nancy. And sometimes I just don't feel like I have an explanation to give to anyone. But I will never be someone I'm not. I will never show something that I don't believe in. I will never go on and be like, yeah, guys, I'm having a fucking fantastic day and my life is perfect, when I'm in a shithole, depressed, can't get out of bed. And I know so many people who do that and who have continuously done that. And they are so unhappy with themselves because they have no idea who they are. And honestly, it'll be a while before you know who you are and know who you are to your core is what I mean. But you still have a perception of who you are and staying true to your values and what truly makes you happy and what you believe in. And that is just something that I'm just so grateful. And if I could give any advice, it'd be that stay true to who you are and what you believe in and question everything. I've always questioned everything. And if it doesn't make me happy, if I don't, believe in it, I don't. Like, stay true to who you are. And I promise you will be so much happier in the long run. So I just wanted to share that. I hope that, you could at least resonate with one of these 5 things. And I just felt like these are the things that have affected me the most here recently. And they just kind of came out of me. And I was like, okay, these are the 5 things that I want to share. I know there's probably more, like read more, this, do this, drink, like there's so much more tips that I could give you, but these are the top 5 things that I just feel like have helped me the most and are things that I'm still working on every single day. I promise, guys, self-growth isn't something that just changes overnight. It takes years and years, and you will change. And to be honest, for me, when I look back and people are like, when did you make the most change out of your life, was when I was 22, then when I was 25, like my whole perception of life shifted. And now that I'm 27 and really taking the time to invest in myself, personal development, self-growth, is when I'm being like, wow. And like really, not just my life is changing, but like my insides are changing, and I'm starting for the better. And I'm starting to realize things that I just never realized before. So I just encourage you to, dig deep, look within, and stay true to yourself. So just wanted to end on a positive note there. So I'm leaving to Hawaii tomorrow, guys. Wish me luck. I'll be posting on my stories, so keep up with that. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.